Hello YouTube world, thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. If this is your first time, please like, subscribe, leave any comments. Also hit the notification bell for any future content to get it first. And enjoy the video.
To compete to win.
Michael Jordan, you're talking about a player who is on a phenomenal respect. You're talking about a player that a lot of people will, admire and revere as not only the greatest player of all time and, probably the greatest athlete of all time. Now, I understand that a lot of players came through, God rest his soul, Kobe Bryant, definitely God rest his soul. He's definitely one of my favorite players. You got LeBron, the likes of other players, the Magic Johnsons and all those. But to me, nobody is really put over Jordan because NBA legends, NBA players know who they look up to. They know who is dominant. They know who has always been the most dominant force. When you think of Michael Jordan, you just think of a god-like figure. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely a basketball god. He's a basketball god in a way that we haven't seen ever, and a lot of people look at, just the gameplay he had, even outside of basketball, the icon he is. I mean, the man is still selling Jordans and shoes now, and he ain't picked up a ball in 20 years. And he's still selling shoes and Jordans and clothes and everything else, almost like he's still playing basketball. And I think that's truly amazing. I think that's definitely a part of his greatness as well that keeps him as the greatest player that's ever played or that's ever lived. But a lot of people will throw LeBron in there now and say LeBron is, the greatest player of all time. But that's just a generational thing, I think. I think a lot of people are just caught up in the moment. LeBron is great, but to me, when you're 3-6 in the finals, or should I say 4-6 in the finals, it's not compared to 6-0. Michael Jordan never lost NBA finals. LeBron's lost several of them, and a couple of them that he lost, I mean, could have went either way, but still, a loss is a loss. So, I will say this though, if LeBron wins another championship, like I said in a previous video, LeBron definitely will be in that category more so than anything, but you have to give credit where credit is due. Mike is 6-0, that's the GOAT. And there's no debating. I know a lot of people will try to go back and forth, but to me, honestly, if I'm going to actually put any player in the same caliber or close to what Michael Jordan is, I'm going to put Kobe Bryant there because Kobe Bryant was Jordan 2.0 just in a Lakers jersey. Kobe Bryant he had the same moves. His game was mimicked after Jordan, and he played as Michael Jordan. If you want to say, let's just hypothetically say if Kobe was a character in a movie, he would play Michael Jordan the best because he really has Michael Jordan's whole persona, his moves, his fadeaway, his killer instinct, his killer will, and his determination to win, even though he might not even have the better team. So when you look at that all on its own in this aspect, you've got to look at Michael Jordan as the greatest player that's ever lived. Now, a lot of people shy away from his greatness, I think, because they look at other players and they're trapped in the moment. There's no need to be trapped in the moment. MJ is the best. MJ is the greatest of all time. To me, MJ is the greatest athlete of all time. Nobody's really going to take that from him. Even if Tom Brady wins the 7th Super Bowl, he's still not going to be a better athlete of all time over Jeffrey Jordan. Michael Jordan is just the greatest, and I think we should acknowledge it. When you look at Mike in the 90s, he dominated. He left the NBA, retired, came back and won 3 more championships, which gave him 6 championships. So, I mean, when you think about that in its entirety, the man always dominated the sport. And I think that's something that we have to respect. And a lot of people overlook how dominant he was and how much of a figure he still is. He is still a figure amongst every player. It's almost like if Michael Jordan walks into the room, everybody's going to listen. And that's just the way it goes. And it's a reason why he can do that still. It's a reason why he's still at that elite level, because players are always going to look at him as a basketball god and the basketball god of all basketball gods. So, when you look at it from that standpoint, I don't know how we can even discredit or dispute how great he was. I mean, look at these highlights that we're looking at. These highlights we're looking at, Michael Jordan looks like he's just so far ahead of everybody else mentally, physically, and any other ability or any other avenue you can think of, So when you think about that, and when you think about how great he was as a player, and how many, just the greatness he showed in adversity, and a lot of times you can't deny that. Now, I know he had some hiccups in the beginning of his career against the Pistons and players and teams like that, but when you think about that, it's really not that big of a deal because he was really young. He didn't have a championship team. He didn't have Scottie Pippen yet, and a lot of pieces just didn't come into place yet. But he still was playing at a high clip. He still was dropping like 25, 30 a game. I mean, he still scored 69 points, his career high. You know, back then he still, you know, put up a lot of huge numbers, and he still was like the youngest superstar to ever really like grab the lead the way he did. So when he done that, and when he became what he became over time, it's like there's no denying how great he is. There's no denying that he's the GOAT. There's no denying he's greatest of all time. And I don't think nobody should ever really dispute that. You know, a lot of people are gonna sit back years from now and think about the LeBrons and all the other players who came through this league, but they just wasn't overly talented or more skilled than Michael Jordan. None of those players had something Michael Jordan had. Either most players now have killer instinct without the flash and the style in their game that Jordan had, or either they, you know, don't have killer instinct and, you know, they win, or they, you know, go out there and they play at a high level, but it's just not on the level of MJ. To me, if you think about it, MJ had everything. Jordan had style, fadeaway, you know, inside the paint he could score. He can make things happen. He's a game winner. He can hit game winners. He's a, you know, he controls the game at his pace. He can take over a game whenever he chooses to. He can play defense on a player when he needs to. He hits big shots when he needs to. He'll take the last shot. He has the killer instinct. He had fashion. Even when you saw him in his interviews, I mean, Jordan just literally had it all. I mean, he had shake, right, left, anything you want, Michael Jordan could do it. Even there was a lot of times, you know, sometimes Mike would just go out there and hit a couple threes, three-pointers. I mean, three-pointers wasn't even really big in his game, but he still could knock down some big threes if he needed to. So it's nothing Jordan couldn't do. He was like the greatest of all time because he was just really good at everything. Dunk contests, anything you could think of, you know, all-star games. I mean, he just done it all. And like I said, he's still, even to this day, revered as the greatest of all time. And he hasn't picked up a ball in years. And I think a lot of people need to understand how great this man was and how much time and dedication he put into this sport to be who he is and what he's become. And I don't think it's by accident. Nobody knows it's everybody knows it's not by accident where he is where he is. And I don't think nobody should dispute that he's the greatest basketball player of all time, because really it's not even close. LeBron, like I said, LeBron is good, but when I look at LeBron, the skill is not even close. LeBron doesn't have a crossover. LeBron doesn't have a flair to his game that, you know, people can honestly say, you know, he was better than everybody around him. LeBron was just bigger than everybody around him. LeBron was a bully in his time because LeBron was the biggest basketball player that we've seen. He was thick, strong, all these things. And he was just bigger than all the other point guards, all the other shooting guards in the league. So he dominated at a clip because a lot of people feared LeBron. A lot of people feared Mike as well, but a lot of people feared Mike because of his skill. They feared Mike because they really knew that he was on a level mentally that every other player in the NBA just wasn't on. LeBron has been challenged by his contemporaries. He's been challenged by his contemporaries in his prime. When Michael Jordan was in his prime, none of his contemporaries could challenge him. When he got Scottie Pippen, you know, when the Bulls got to the point where they were just the best team in the league, all his contemporaries didn't look better. I remember at one point, since they want to say LeBron is like Jordan or better, I can remember at one point Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors were challenging LeBron. Stephen Curry was challenging LeBron as the best player in the league. You know, and a lot of people was believing at the time that Steph Curry was the best player in the league. Nobody ever really thought any other player in the league was better than Michael Jordan when Michael Jordan was in his prime. That's how much he dominated over all his contemporaries in the league. LeBron is being questioned. His greatness was being questioned by so many different players. It's unreal. I mean, they went from Stephen Curry to Kawhi Leonard. You know, it's to me, if you're that dominant, it shouldn't be any question that you're the best player in the world. I mean, like I said, they went from Stephen Curry to Kawhi Leonard to Kevin Durant as looked at as some people think, is the best player. I know Skip Bayless is one who thinks Kevin Durant is the best player in the league. But still, you should not be challenged by your contemporaries as the best player in the world when it's clearly obvious. And what I'm saying is, when you're challenged by these other players, it's only because they have more skill than you. When I look at Kevin Durant to me has more skill than LeBron. He is a 7-footer that can shoot from 30 feet from the basket, turn around, fade away, jumper in your face, get to the paint when he wants to, and he got a handle, a crossover that he uses to actually get past a lot of shooting guards. What 7-footers do you know can do that? That takes skill. LeBron doesn't have a crossover. He's not crossover inclined. He doesn't have a jump shot. He's not a reliable jump shooter. He is a damn near horrible free throw shooter, especially when you need him in the clutch. So he's not clutch. He's not the clutchest player ever. He's not that good at free throws. He really doesn't have a jump shot, and he doesn't really have a go-to move that's really deadly that can't nobody stop. So LeBron is just a bully amongst little boys because he was bigger than everybody else. He is not the greatest player of all time, and I really think people should really chill on that because, like they said, if you're the greatest player of all time, then it shouldn't be debatable. But the reason why it's debatable, that means you're not. When people say Michael Jordan was the greatest player of all time, for a long time, and even long time ago, nobody debated that. And none of his contemporaries, none of the players in the NBA looked better than him. They never did. And if you look at the highlights from his old clips to who he is now, you know what I'm saying? Of course, you could tell a difference because he's a lot older, and he definitely doesn't look like himself like he used to. But at the same time, even if you look at Michael Jordan today, if he's playing any sport, golf or whatever sport he decided to play at his age, he's probably still just as competitive as he was when he played on the basketball court. So when you look at somebody like that, you see a cerebral assassin, and that's who Michael Jordan was. He is a killer when it's time to be, and he will take over a game at a drop of a dime, and nobody can do anything about it. I truly believe if LeBron played in Michael Jordan's era, LeBron wouldn't even be looked at as close as the greatest player of all time, because one thing about LeBron, he's a softer player. He's real soft. He cries for fouls. He cries at the referees when he doesn't get calls. Mike wasn't doing that. Mike was going down, giving you the business. You'd have to be. It's not surprising if Mike dropped 30 on your head every night, because he was able to do that. Michael Jordan actually averaged 35 points a game, a whole 82-game season. Think about that. He actually averaged 35 points a game, a whole 82-game season, with his team going to the finals and winning all these championships, and with him winning scoring titles and MVPs and dunk contests. I mean, Mike has done it all. And when I really think it's so much just disrespect that a lot of people put on Michael's name just to throw LeBron in there, somebody who really doesn't even have that much skill, and he's just a bully amongst all little point guards and little shooting guards who can't match up with him because they're too scared of how big he is and how much physicality he has. And don't get me wrong, I don't want nobody to take this video the wrong way. I don't want nobody to act like I don't like LeBron or I think LeBron is trash. LeBron is one of the greatest players that ever played this game, but he's not better than Michael Jordan. He doesn't have more skill. He doesn't have more killer instinct. He doesn't have that it factor when you need it, and he's not clutch from the free throw line when games are on the line, and he's proven that many times over. So when you look at that in its totality, there's no way you could put him over Michael Jordan. As I stated before, the only player I would put up there with Michael Jordan, to me, in my opinion, is Kobe Bryant, because Kobe Bryant was the closest we saw to Michael Jordan, gameplay wise, killer mentality, knocking down game-winning free throws, hitting shots in the clutch when they need to be made. Kobe was that guy, and he is the only person that I would put second to Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan is still number one, and I don't think nobody should really overlook that. I think a lot of people have their thoughts confused in regards to it, and I think they're just living in the moment, and that's okay. We all get caught up in that sometimes. We all don't understand the severity of what we're doing or what we're thinking about at the moment in time, just because we're caught up in what we see at that point in time. But you have to understand, 6-0 in the finals compared to 4-6 like LeBron was or is, that's not even close. I think Kobe Bryant's record in the finals is 5-2, I believe. So when you look at that in its totality, Kobe is the closest. And I really think it's disrespectful that a lot of analysts and all these guys on TV don't even put Kobe in that conversation. You sit there and act like you're so concerned and so, oh, I'm mourning over the death of Kobe Bryant. I feel so sorry for the family. Yeah, you may feel sorry for him, but you're not even putting him in that category where he belongs. He belongs up there with Michael Jordan. If you ask Michael Jordan right now, who is the player that he would put closest to him, closest to his game in general, he's going to say Kobe Bryant. Because LeBron James doesn't really have that type of skill. LeBron is just all power, brute force, and now that he's old and damn near washed up, he has to sit down every 5 minutes during the course of a game just to catch a breather so he can get some Gatorade so he can at least be out there. A lot of times LeBron is real passive now, and it's okay because I know he's gotten older. He's not the player he used to be. We all get that, but at the same time, even in his prime, I mean, it was all dunks. It was all just brute force. It wasn't like really no skill that he had, or no one-legged jump shot, or no turnaround fadeaway. He never had any go-to moves. He never had any of that. And like I said, he is a great player. He is an all-time great player. But at the same time, you can't put him in the same breath as Michael Jordan. In my personal opinion, you never will be able to. Because like I said before in this same video, when you look at these highlights that you're watching, this is greatness beyond. This is greatness beyond Michael Jordan's years. If Michael Jordan played in this era, he would crush 99% of these players. And he would make LeBron James look like trash. Because first of all, LeBron don't have the killer instinct to go against Michael Jordan. LeBron's too much of a nice guy. And nice guys finish last time I checked. So when you look at that in its totality, well, Michael Jordan got the title. And the title says GOAT on it. What else should I say? Except he's the GOAT, he's the greatest, and there's no other way to look at it. So I appreciate y'all's time, but hey, until next time.